All right, let's talk about software engineer, self-taught software engineer. Okay, so a lot of people start having this ideal, right? Oh, it's gonna be a job transitions. It's gonna be a better job, and such. And it's great. It's great that a lot of people have this kind of dreams and goals. But in reality, the process of learning to become a great software engineer is difficult. If someone promised you you can become a full stack software developer by 4 months, either they lying you and scam you, or they are a great genius uh, teachers, or they have this technology that they can download in your brain, right? So if they have that kind of technology, let me know so, right? Otherwise, AI will be the one that going to make our work easier. That's all I can think about, right? Yeah, yeah. Otherwise, don't believe them. You're gonna have to spend a lot of your times to be and learning to enjoy the process of um, this learning to become a software developer. What does that mean by that? Learning to enjoy the process. The process required to become a resilient person. You have to overcome a failure and start thinking that failure is where improvement is. That is where it starts. And once you have that kind of growth mindset and you start moving forward, either slowly or very faster than anyone else, because you make mistakes earlier than others, right? So that's what they require to become a great software engineer. And um, once you enjoy that overcoming the failure, you start having this standard, right? If you were employer, would you hire yourself? That's a good questions to ask, right? So if you ask that kind of questions, you have this standard. Oh, that means I have to be uh, at least this type of standard, right? Does that mean like having fixed mindset, right? No, it's not. It's not the same. Fixed mindset is basically drawing a line and not and trying to measure yourself with other people's standards. That's what fixed mindset is. If you have that kind of fixed mindsets, don't even think about to become a engineer or software engineer. So, however, you have to have a minimum standard, right? And if you have that kind of minimum standard, then of course uh, you can grow, right? And that means you also need to treat your learning process like a real job, like a 9 to 5 jobs. And that means you're gonna have to sacrifice a little bit of your time as well, right? Like overtime and stuff. So if you have can't solve a problem, then you might have to spend a little bit of 1 hour or extra 30 minutes or something like that. You have to add a little bit time to learn that. And once you treat the learning process like a real job, you start having discipline, and that discipline basically shape you, right? If you don't have discipline, you will soon realize like your life is a mess, like you don't have a life. That's what you're going to feel like sometime. So that means you need a discipline. And once you have that disciplines, you start thinking pragmatically. That means you value your time, and you don't want any distractions during your coding challenge or your projects, wherever you're working on. And you respect your times and you value that times so much. And your growth, you start realizing that your growth makes very significant uh, in your learning process. And maybe it might be the knowledge and like a lot of tutorials that you learn from can be like a kid project, right? But the idea is the same. Like the algorithms that you learn from a kid projects can be used in a lot of these companies, like um, a lot of robotics or a lot of these data related things. It always starts from like simple things, right? So a lot of people don't judge. That's what I'm saying. Don't judge the tutorials that you learn by uh, the book, the cover of the book, right? Don't judge by the outside, or what it, what they are teaching you. Judge by where it come from, right? Where does it come from? That kind of algorithm, right? A lot of these algorithms and patterns and a lot of these knowledge come from somewhere. It doesn't come from out of nowhere, right? It has to come from somewhere. Inspirations, right? So once you know that depth of those algorithm and pattern, you have more uh, appreciations, and you don't just like look at that project and you judge because of it looks silly. It might be silly video game, but that video game contains a lot of good algorithm and pattern that you learn from, and you can use it on others projects. And once you have the appreciation, you can also taste the sweetness of your discipline. And once you taste the sweetness of your disciplines, uh, it's like drugs. No one's need to remind you that you're a great engineer anymore, right? They're not gonna give you a word. They're not gonna give you or tell you anything. But you know yourself. You done a great job, and that's what it requires to become a great engineer. And this will keep making you move forward, and this will make you a leader instead of follower, right? So sometimes it require, of course, listening to someone and accomplish their dream so that you can accomplish yours. And uh, they have great appreciation on you, and you know that you make a great impact on them, right? And so on. So maybe one day you have the worst day, like there's so much pressure, you have to get it done by this X amount of time and such and such. And what basically kicking you back is not your coworker, it's not your boss, it's the mechanism that you already had while you learn from at home or self-studying or self-teaching. What is it? A discipline. You know the sweetness of that discipline. No one can teach you. So what is it again? If you look it back again, that means time management. That means overcoming the failure, and that means growth mindset, and not giving a crap about what other people think of you. Maybe your coworker, maybe your employer, they have fixed mindset on you. they have these expectations, but you know you're beyond, you can go beyond that. And this type of quality discipline that you have will make you a great software engineer, not just someone they hire to become an actor or actress like these you know YouTube vlogger, and they're trying to show you this attractiveness of the lifestyle of a software engineer. No, it's not. It's very competitive. You have to pull your hairs and you have to sacrifice your times. And if you don't quit by that type of pressures, you know for sure you'll find your passions. And these companies require someone who have a passions and who's going to make their life more easier. Not someone to babysit, right? Not someone to make their lives harder. They want someone who is going to make their lives a lot easier. And once you have this kind of disciplines and growth mindsets uh, and a standard, you start having this selective, uh, you know, job applications that you're going to apply for, right? You have more selective thoughts and selective uh, knowledge on these companies, right? And you know you can bring this value to them, right? And that's why they can see your passion through your resume and through your project, and it's just a lot easier to switch even if you don't like company that you're working for. You can switching your positions because you can bring value to them, and you know you can bring value to other companies that will make their life more easier. That's what make you a great engineer.